Alright, YouTube, I am going to bring you a Napoleon Total War video from the scenic map of Spanish Lakeside. My army is moving up here, as you can see. I have split my army into two wings, and I'll introduce you to both individually. On this wing I have, I believe, 3 units of line infantry, and I'm playing as the United Netherlands, as you can see. And I have 2 units of skirmishers, which are the nasal Jaegers. And I also have 2 units of 7-pound howitzer. Also, my cavalry over here consists of 1 heavy unit, which is a carbineer, and a light unit, light dragoons. So I'm moving quickly to take this high ground, and my opponent is doing the same. It's kind of a necessity, because if you didn't make any moves to the high ground and someone placed artillery here, they could bombard you down in the valley there. So my opponent also has his general here, and this is probably a micro mistake on his part. This is some kind of cool terrain here. It's high, looks kind of arid, and has a lot of small scrubby trees. So there is my skirmishers taking some pot shots at his general unit. Here they are, pretty well hidden down in the grass and trees. I really like the terrain on this map. It's cool, but it's hard to fight on. Anyway, let's take a look at my valley element of forces here. I have 2 units of skirmishers down here as well. They're both all my units of skirmishers are nasal Jaegers. Then I have 4 units of line down here, I believe. I have a general's bodyguard, which is Jean Victor Baron de Constant Rabecki. I don't know how to say all this. In any case, let's move on from the pronunciation. And I also have a unit of carbineers down here. So I have total 3 units of cavalry. I have, well actually I have 5 units of line down here. So I have 8 units of line and 4 units of skirmishers, 2 artillery. Generally on Napoleon Total War, if I'm the one hosting the game, my rule is max 2 artillery, because I just don't see a need in bringing more than 2 pieces of artillery. And I do not ban fixed artillery, even though sometimes it can be useful to yourself or annoying to yourself, kind of depends on how things work out. So you can see that I am moving my army forward in the valley. I want to come up and engage the Prussian on both fronts. And here I have placed a stake line to keep my opponent from being able to charge into my troops up here with his cavalry, because I believe I'm outnumbered. And I intend to move forward, but I've put that there so if I move forward and start to get chased off by his cavalry, my skirmishers can run back through here and hopefully impale some of his cavalry. But right now I'm skirmishing with one of his skirmish units. So let's see what my opponent has up here. As I said, he has his general staff, and he has 2 units of cuirassiers. Here he has a unit of Jaegers, and followed closely behind them is a unit of foot guards. I think 2 units, no, 1 unit of foot guards, 1 unit musketeers. And then here he has another Jaeger, and he has brought 1 piece of artillery on top of the hill, and it is also a 7-pound howitzer, like my own. Alright, let's go take a look at what he has down in the valley. He has, looks like 4 units of skirmishers, which are all Jaegers. And then he has more units of line infantry. Here he has musketeers, 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 musketeers. Alright, so he doesn't have any more elite infantry down here. And he also has his other unit of 7-pound howitzer. And I do not have any artillery down in the valley. And that is why he's going to have a bit of an advantage down here. This is a very close battle. I'll just go ahead and tell you that now. I won't tell you who wins, but it was definitely a close battle. Well fought by my opponent, and I very much enjoyed this fight. So here he's setting up his artillery, as you can see. I love the landscape on this map. It's really cool. But like I said, it does make fighting quite difficult because of the terrain. A lot of cover, a lot of nice little trees and hills. It's pretty enjoyable. There was another map I played on, I don't remember the name of it, but your opponent starts on a giant hill on the other side of a river, and the only way you can get to him is through river crossings, and it looks absolutely brutal. Definitely favors the defender. But that's okay. Sometimes playing on unequal ground is fun, and even though it's kind of hard on this game, I do enjoy playing on uneven ground. I enjoyed on Halo as well. They have some unbalanced maps. It's quite fun, actually. Let's go back up to the hill. I think my artillery, yes, my artillery is just now in place. At least I believe it is. And one of the functions that you can do with the howitzer is you can order a targeted shot. You only get to do it 3 times for each piece of artillery during a battle, but it can make your artillery devastatingly effective. So his artillery, I believe, is firing at just my troops. Or no, that's right. I did a targeted shot first at his cavalry here. And it was because his cavalry were all bunched up in a group, and I wanted to use my targeted shot in order to cause as much damage as I could to his cavalry. I know that might be kind of loud, but I know my sound was kind of quiet on the last few videos, so I'm trying to rectify that. So as you can see, I caused massive damage to his cavalry there, which is exactly what I wanted. And now my next targeted shot is going to come at his howitzer. And the reason I did this is because he wasn't targeting my howitzer, so I wasn't worried about losing my artillery to his. My opponent probably should have targeted my my artillery rather than my foot troops. But hey, it's his artillery and he can do what he wants with it. So now my opponent has made a smart move here and thinned out his cavalry to make it harder for me to destroy them with explosive shells. Nice smoke effect coming off that hill there where my howitzer shot fell short. So here comes my artillery barrage. Let's follow that in here. And that first shot didn't cause any damage, but I'm pretty sure that I get a pretty nicely devastating shot in on his artillery here, and I'd like to wait for it. See if this is it. Nope. I don't think I've turned on my targeted shot mode yet. Here's a unit of his foot guards that is routing. They got picked apart by my skirmishers and a unit of line infantry. They were kind of in a bottleneck, and my opponent pushed them forward even though he didn't really have to. To be honest, he kind of had me out skirmished in this game, but he was moving forward quite a lot, and he put his troops through a bottleneck where he probably should have drawn me through the bottleneck since the skirmishers were better. But that's okay. So there's some really devastating shots that I'm taking at him with my artillery. Like I said, I know it's loud. Hope it doesn't overbear anything when it shows up on YouTube. In any case, let's take a look at the other action that's going on, which is very little at the moment. Basically, his skirmishers here down in the trees, I don't know how they can see my men. Maybe they're just firing hoping to kill them. But yeah, they're down here in these woods, and they're firing at my skirmishers, which are way over here through the bottleneck in this position. Let me see if I can show you this terrain better from above. Yes, so here's the bottleneck here where he lost his foot guards. They do have excellent morale, and maybe he thought that he could go ahead and push them through and break me, but I created a square shape here, you can see, and bottled his foot guards up. So the fight up here so far is kind of up in the air on who's going to win it. I do have my opponent outnumbered up here though. But as you can see, he is sending reinforcements. Here is a unit of musketeers that has come up from the plain. And speaking of the plain, down here my troops are already under artillery barrage. And he's getting some good kills on me here. This unit of Nassau Jaegers is down to 30 men. So I'm in big trouble down here because he has a major skirmisher advantage over me. So what I'm going to do now is quickly push up my line. Here they come. I've got to get my line pushed up here and hope that I can outshoot his. And I'm not confident that I can do that, but I do have my general down here in the valley, and I'm hoping to use my general's inspiring capabilities to keep my men in the fight longer. Here's my general. He's moving out of cover. And I also have this unit of carbineers down here that I could use, whereas my opponent doesn't have any cavalry in the plain. So let's take a look at no man's land here. There's my line firing at his. So the battle is raging right now down in the valley, and this is key. If someone can gain control of the valley, then they can send reinforcements to the hill, or vice versa. If they can gain control of the hill, they can send reinforcements to the valley. But right here, my opponent made a really good move, and he lined up this unit of musketeers behind my left flank and routed them out. And by the time I realized what he was doing, it was too late. I did bring forth my general to try and rally my men and keep the rest of them in the fight, though. But I mean, my men are just getting slaughtered right here. And I have to admit that the general is definitely helping out because he's keeping my men in the fight. And now I'm going to make a desperate cavalry charge straight on into his troops. And he formed a square at the last moment, quite skillfully. And so I stopped my men from charging, but they still kind of got caught on a square.